Welcome to the Low Country Revolutionaries, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of Charleston, South Carolina's vibrant entrepreneurial scene. I'm your host, Bill Bellott, founder of Veritas Exoscience, and each week we're spotlighting the boldest innovators from the Chucktown startup community. These are the visionaries pouring their heart and soul into the businesses that are transferring Charleston into a global hub of creativity and American ingenuity. Get ready for raw, real conversations with the trailblazers shaping our city's future. Let's dive in. I would like to welcome Will Pearce. Will is in pursuit of making a positive impact. The Attento Board was started with some COVID creativity. Originally conceived as a cutting board and a dish carrier, it evolved into something more significant. A versatile board with incredible potential for people with disabilities, children, and the elderly. Welcome, Will. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Hope you're doing well as well.
I'm doing well. It's a good day. It's land of summer and smiles down here in the Charleston area, so it's a good day.
And I tell you what, thanks for making me sound so good on that introduction. That I appreciate that. I'm going to have to record that so I can hear it when I'm having a bad day.
That's okay. You can get a copy of this recording and a lot of other stuff if you want it. So yeah, I'm really interested in this. It sounds like, you've been on this journey. You had some health issues that you were dealing with, and it started you down this journey. And now you have this product that's helping a lot more people than you even imagined. So tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so I guess it's definitely not the most direct path to where I am now, but I guess it kind of started in 2014. I was a real estate agent here, and at the age of 28, I started kind of having some memory problems. And one day I actually suffered from transient global amnesia, which is one-time memory loss, and it can go from a couple seconds up to, months to a year.
Wow.
And I had no idea that was happening. And luckily, one of my coworkers called me, and I wasn't making any sense. So he came over and found me in my front yard, pouring sweat, walking in circles, completely out of it. And luckily, he took me back to his house, and I came to about 3 hours later. But I had been conscious the whole time throughout the day. It's just I wasn't retaining anything.
Yeah.
So that was on a Friday. And of course, I'm kind of stubborn and didn't really tell anyone. And my boss ended up telling my parents and said, hey, you might want to get Will checked out. So I went to a neurologist, and they said, we think you have epilepsy.
Oh, wow.
And my first response was, I think y'all are crazy. I'm
right,
28. This doesn't make any sense. Well, sure enough, they are doctors and they know what they're talking about. It was about 2 weeks later, I had a full grand mal seizure.
Oh, wow.
So luckily, or I shouldn't say luck, but my mom was there to witness it. And she's still terrified to talk about it. And,
right.
No one ever wants to see that. So especially, seeing a 28-year-old son, I can only imagine how, people that are younger seeing it.
Right.
And so unfortunately, I couldn't drive for 6 months right off the bat, because if you have a seizure, so in turn, I had to give up my real estate career.
Yeah.
And that kind of took the wind out of my sails, because I was really enjoying being a real estate agent, being from Charleston. And this is before everyone was a real estate agent, it seems. So I was enjoying it. And then I kind of had I was down and out on myself. So one of my good friends had moved out to Houston. And I went out there on 4th of July and, went out on a boat. And it's kind of that story. We got off the boat and I decided to move to Texas because, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I needed change. Yeah. I knew that much. And so I lived out in Houston for about 9 months and came back to Charleston and got a medical device sales job out of Greenville and Atlanta. But the day before I was supposed to start, I had my second grand mal seizure.
Right.
So I had to give that career up before I even started.
Wow.
And that was November 27th of 2016. Yeah. And then I couldn't drive for another 6 months. But within that 6 months, I actually collapsed from cardiac arrest running the Cooper River Bridge Run here in Charleston on April 1st, 2017. So luckily, I guess I fell pretty much at the end of the race. And I fell right in front of the EMTs, so they pulled me over. They paddled me twice, and I was at the hospital in under 5 minutes.
Wow, you're so
They,
lucky.
oh man, you have no clue. So they put me in induced hypothermic coma, so they could see, kind of what was firing and try
Right.
to figure it out because I was healthy. They had never seen anything, and I'd never felt weird,
Right.
and I'm healthy and was running the bridge. I woke up fine, was walking with my mom, but I wanted to run faster and said, I'll see you at Halls, for an after run Bloody Mary. And
Yeah.
I never showed up. And luckily, I guess randomly, one of my friends saw me collapse.
Oh,
And so
good.
he started texting our friends, hey, I think Will had an epileptic seizure.
Oh, okay. Because they were
So
connecting what's happened in the past, right? Yeah.
exactly. And they're like, well, man, and so it got to my mom and such. And they were like, man, Will's in a coma at the hospital.
Whoa.
So I went there, and after 3.5 days, I came to. And the first thing I said is, man, I can't drive for 6 months. I had another seizure.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, things are a little different here. We got to, catch you up to speed. And
Yeah.
they started asking me what I could remember. And the only thing that I could remember was the University of South Carolina women's basketball team.
Okay.
And I don't watch, I was like, what is this? And it was because March Madness has
Oh,
happened.
March Madness. Yep.
But that was about 2 weeks prior. So
Oh.
it pretty much erased everything.
Wow.
And they're like, you were given a 4% chance survival. They told me I was going to be in there, started at 7 weeks. And then they're like, all right, a month. And I was
Wow.
like, I'm not taking this at all. Well, I was in and out in 8 days.
Wow.
Yes. So, I had to do therapy and stuff like that. But, these people on the podcast can't see me, but I am healthy as can be right now. I only have some short-term memory problems. Like if I'm in a situation where there's a lot going on, I kind of just get overwhelmed and such, which all things considered, I'm very fortunate. Like
Right.
even in the cardiac community, I'm a legend, if you will. A lot of doctors speak about me and stuff like that because I was very fortunate. And at the end of it, I just had a little bit of scar tissue on my
Wow.
heart that was from some virus completely undetected. So unfortunately, anyone could have it. It's not something they can test for. It just,
So you
it
didn't have
happened.
any blockage, you didn't have a heart valve, you didn't have any of that
No,
stuff. It was just a really your muscles just seized up in
it was
cardiac muscles.
just a scar tissue on
Just
the
a scar
heart,
tissue. Okay.
and it's called myocarditis.
Okay, yeah.
So
Card
nothing
itis
hardcore.
means inflammation. It's just
Exactly.
right.
Yeah. And I was just like, what in the heck? And they installed a defibrillator on me, and that's the internal
Okay.
clear paddle thing.
Yep.
So I got that. I named him Cooper after the bridge run. So I can always know. And
Yeah.
luckily, he's absorbed into my body because when I first got him, he stuck out like a deck of cards.
Oh wow.
And luckily, I couldn't really put my left arm down. And they said over time, my body would absorb it. And sure enough,
you sure it's
stuck
not
in.
like fat padding? I'm just saying because that would happen to me.
Hey, you never know. Luckily, it's in the summer and it's bathing suit season, so I'm a little bit more focused on it. But you never know what's going to happen when the cold weather comes.
Yeah. No, that's really amazing. So, but how
Yeah,
did all that? I mean, you're going through all this stuff, and then how did you get to like doing your own company and putting out stuff?
yeah. Well, that's why I said it's not the most normal path. But of course, when you go through something traumatic, people always, say, "Oh, you're here for some reason." It wasn't your time. You hear all this stuff, and you're
Right.
kind of, "Oh, that's just the generic."
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy that happened.
Yeah.
But and then I guess when I was doing my therapy and stuff, I saw people in terrible conditions.
Mm.
And I mean, it was to the point where I wanted to be like, take some of my health and give it to them.
Yeah.
I'm walking around here. So it made me realize that things can happen at any point in time.
Right.
And it can be life-changing or something small. So when it came to COVID, my buddy and I were just looking for something kind of to do. And I remembered that my friend's grandmother had made her mom a cutting board and a casserole carrier. And no one ever uses the backside of the cutting board.
Right.
So I was like, man, we'll put these holes for pegs. That way they can, make it, bake it, and take it. and it won't spill in the car because people, our
Oh yeah.
drivers and roads here in South Carolina aren't the most friendly, especially when you've got a hot casserole on the chair. And so we did that for a few months, and then I started working at a farm stand here in Charleston.
Yeah.
And one of the regulars who would come in, I could see that she was losing dexterity in her
Right.
hands, even just the short amount of time I had known her. So one day I had an extra board in my car and just gave it to her and said, "Hey, you know, you kind of scared me when you go home with all these vegetables. I know you live by yourself. Can
Yeah.
I just kind of give you this as a peace of mind for everyone?" And she was like, "This is great," and I asked for some feedback, and she said the only thing was it was too heavy.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, bamboo makes good sense, and kind of just never really thought more of it. COVID kept going on, and just kind of put it on the back burner. And then about a year later, my mom was diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh yeah.
So luckily, she's great now. She just got
Oh
back
good.
from MD Anderson yesterday, and she's doing remarkable, is the words that the doctors used.
That's great to
But
hear.
at the time, when you just hear the C word, once again, it took the wind out of my sails.
Right. Right.
And everyone has pity parties, but there's always going to be someone, that's having a worse situation. So that's
Mhm.
when I just, started thinking about ways that I could help people. And I randomly, remembered that lady. And one day I reached out on Instagram and typed in cerebral palsy on the favorites page.
Right.
And I saw two accounts. One was a 9-year-old girl, and she was smiling ear to ear, and another was a 26-year-old girl smiling ear to ear. One was from Michigan, and the other one was from New York.
Really?
They had no idea who Will Pearce was or anything, so I just sent them I slid into their DM, if you will, and just said, "Hey, I've got this idea." And at the time, I was still making them out of a bamboo, and I knew it was too heavy.
Yeah.
So they're like, "It's too heavy." And after speaking with those girls and the 9-year-old's mom, I realized that I had a product that could help people.
Really?
So I ordered a few of them from here in Charleston, some plastic ones. And there's a large trade show that goes all over the country called the Abilities Expo.
Mhm.
And I saw that they were having one in Dallas. So I reached out, and I was actually the last person that they signed up.
Oh,
They
cool.
let me in. I was the only one person operation, and I had 5 boards in a rolling luggage. I had the smallest booth. I was
Right.
next to FEMA and Toyota with their $140,000, dollar Sienna minivans.
Right.
And I have these $70 plastic boards. But I tell you what, the amount of strangers that I cried with was unbelievable.
Really?
Just hearing them say, "Thank you so much. Like, my child needs this. My parents could have used this." Like, I mean, thank goodness there was a, a little sheet in the back that I could go cry behind with people, because, they were tears of joy knowing that I had found something that, could help people, and that for some reason there's nothing out there like it. I mean, it's the simplest technology. I mean, you've seen it as plastic and but it can help. So
How does
I
it
came
how does
back.
it kind of work? How does it help
Yeah.
people?
So basically, to the listeners, if they could just imagine just a normal cafeteria tray,
Yeah.
and it has holes in it to where you can put pegs in it. So it can go around any shape and size object.
Oh,
So
nice.
say someone is visually impaired, traditionally they have to use like the suction cup
Right.
plates and stuff, and they don't stick to all of the surfaces and stuff. And a lot of them are kind of geared toward children. They're small and have hearts on them. But with my Attento board, someone that's had their fine china for 50 years can use that. They can use the stuff that they already have in their
Oh,
house instead of
wow.
having to buy the $30 stuff. They can spend that money elsewhere on getting a nicer bottle of wine or a steak instead of having to get another suction cup plate and cup.
Yeah.
So, and then I realized, hey, people could use this for therapy
Mhm.
and such, because they can work on stretching out their hands and such. So it's really one of those, but wait, there's more products. It
Right.
sounds cheesy, but I wanted to keep it simple. That way it wouldn't restrict people on the uses, and they wouldn't be like, "Well, I don't do that, so I couldn't use that." And that's when I'm like, "Hey, here's a board.
Yeah.
Like, this is your blank canvas. Do what you want with it. And the feedback, I mean, there's one woman that uses it to paint her fingernails.
Oh,
She
cool.
puts her hand between the pegs and then uses the other pegs to secure, I guess, the equipment, the nail spreaders and stuff. I don't know,
Yeah.
the terminology, but she's using it for that. One lady, she uses it to crochet. There's
Wow.
just so many different purposes. Some people use it in their car so their children aren't throwing Cheez-Its all over the seat. That way they can secure the tablet, and the bowl of food. So it really is just one of those simple ideas that it started out with, a cutting board. But then
Right.
I realized, hey, I want something that's safe. And after doing all this due diligence and stuff and seeing the people that I'm helping, I would be soulless if I gave up on this, because it is unbelievable that today in 2025, I have not heard a single person say that's a bad product, that's too expensive, and I've seen one of those before.
Yeah. And I'll
You
tell
can
you,
get one of those three, you're good, but all three of those, feels
that's
good.
that is amazing. It's like it's very similar to things I've seen that aren't really designed like you have. Like, if you do woodworking, especially like, I'll say more old school woodworking, a workbench that has the holes with the dogs and stuff like that. It sounds like, it's got a little bit of that kind of technology built in it where it's holding things in place. And then, in the tech world, there's we call them and it's for robots, believe it or not. It's actually for measuring robots and stuff. It's called a peg and hole type or a task board type thing, and you use it to
Mhm.
measure the precision of a robot taking something and putting it in a hole. And we work on standards for that. But I've never heard what you're talking about for people, where it gives them. It sounds like, not only does it help, if you have like tremors or anything like that, it helps you, give you some place to stabilize your hands, but it also gives you a thing to hold like your regular dishes, your regular equipment, your regular, just living things, where you don't have to go buy special stuff. So that sounds really amazing.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about robots and stuff, that's so advanced,
Right.
that they're trying to come up. It's like, why don't you just make a simple thing that can help, fresh air breathing humans that can, and it's just the simple technology. Because I'm a simple guy, and some people are like, oh, this reminds me of the pegboard from Cracker Barrel
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. But I
It's a
mean,
little different.
exactly, exactly. But even, just with my apartment, I don't have the biggest home desk, so I use the Attento board. I've got my monitor on top of it, and then I can slide the board underneath it. So I have a little bit more, or my computer underneath it. So it really is one of those things. I mean, one of my friends uses it to feed his dog, because the dog will move the bowl
Right.
all around, but yet with
And
the
locks it in place
picture
now.
board, it locks it in place. So that's something that I never would have thought of. And I just, like I said, I want to keep it simple. That way people can use their imagination, because creativity, once you find something that's creative, it's a good feeling, even if it's
Yes.
something small. So, I always tell people, if I can make the most negative, darkest part of my life a positive for someone, I'm all about that. And I know I have a product that can help people, all over the world. I'm working with therapists in Australia and New Zealand. I got an email from Oklahoma State University yesterday,
Yeah.
and I'm a simple guy working out of my apartment in downtown Charleston. So I've finally gotten the credibility where people are like, wow, this guy Will, he's actually up to something. Because not having a medical or engineering background, going into such a tight knit community, was
It's
a lot
tough.
more difficult than I expected. Oh yes, a
Yes,
lot more
it's
difficult.
yeah. If you don't have the credibility, it's very difficult. Well, if you ever ever want to do an international trip, I would recommend. There's a huge conference for. It's sort of like the abilities conference that you went to in Texas. It's called RIA Care. It's out of Dusseldorf, Germany. It
Okay.
happens I think it's either every year or every other year. One of the largest medical equipment type conferences in the world. So something to think about. I'm connected to that community because I've worked in exoskeletons and stuff, and part of the exoskeleton is for medical stuff. So I know some folks in that. So happy to connect you if you ever want to think about that in the future.
Well, you know what? From doing this, I have realized that you cannot turn down a conversation with anyone because you never know what someone might know. And since you already offered to do that, I'm definitely going to pick your brain as much as possible because it can be a worldwide product. It's just I started here in Charleston and it's a ripple effect. So finally people are starting to hear that, hey, this guy Will, he's not cocky, he's confident now.
Well, I'm trying to coin a phrase here, but a lot of revolutions start here in Charleston.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, pretty much right over there. I can see where. Oh yes, yeah. Oh yeah.
So I usually ask folks this question, but I sort of know the answer, but I think I'm going to ask you anyway, because so why Charleston? And I know you kind of grew up here, but why you told me earlier you kind of moved away at some point. So why do you want to be here? I mean, I know you got family, but what's making Charleston kind of work for you, and why is this a good place for you right now?
Well, I guess, like you said, I've moved a couple places. I lived in Lake Tahoe. I lived in Houston. I lived in the upstate. I lived in a single wide trailer in the country in the middle part of South Carolina. So I've pretty much covered it all from big city, to ski in, ski out to modular homes. So coming back to Charleston, I've always been proud coming back, because people are like, oh, you moved away and you came back. And it's like, no, I experienced something. And I realized that Charleston is an incredible spot. And honestly, when you tell people I moved from Charleston and they say, why'd you leave?
Why'd you leave?
It makes you question your sanity, and then luckily, like you said, I'm born and raised here. A lot of my friends actually moved away and have come back. It's just Charleston sucks us in. We keep winning these best cities in the world awards, food. People are coming in by the cruise ships pretty much.
Right.
But it's just Charleston's a special place. And, there are other great places out there and stuff. And I probably will move again at some point, but I probably will come back to Charleston because I'm all about trying things, especially with this business. I'm trying, and there's nothing wrong with failing because everyone has done it. Just not everyone is as vocal about it.
Right.
So there's no shame in asking for help or admitting failure.
Absolutely. And, it's great. We're both part of this group called Chucktown Startups, and it's a big group of people trying stuff. That's how I would kind of phrase it in a way. And I think that's exciting. It's an exciting community to be in right now. And, while we're kind of talking about that, so what advice would you have for others out in the community? You've been through this journey. You're still on your journey, but what advice would you have for them?
Yeah. I guess, I'm definitely not the most mentorship kind of guy, but honestly, the first thing I did was reach out to complete strangers, like those on the internet. I didn't really tell any of my friends or family that I was thinking about doing the plastic one, because your friends and family will tell you whatever you kind of want to hear or they want to present. And I was like, I want to hear someone that's never seen me. They don't know who Will Pearce is, and they are going to be honest.
Right.
And that's when, I got the confidence, but I've reached out to the Charleston Tech Center, the digital corridor here. Nice. I'm working with the small business development center here. I'm involved with 1 Million Cups, which got me to y'all. So it's all about networking because there are people out there that have done it. And luckily, a lot of people still want to help.
Yeah.
But it's easier to find those people going to network events. And not everyone likes meeting new people and stuff, but all those people that are at those events have been that person coming through the door not knowing someone.
Yeah, that's great advice right there. It's like,
so just throw yourself out there. There's nothing wrong with it, and if it's not an idea that I'm passionate about this. So there's been nights where I've had sleep for dinner, and that's just like I told you earlier, if I gave up on this, I would be so disappointed in myself because I know I have a product that is helping people.
Right.
And like I said, if I can make my negative positive for people, I'm going to work as hard as I can for that. Because at the end of the day, if I knew I wasn't helping people, I went up to Shark Tank. In Philadelphia and applied up there and did great with the sales pitch. But unfortunately, my mom was starting a cancer treatment that morning. So when they started asking me my motivation, I kind of started crying
Yeah.
a good bit. So I said, I'm not the guy that cries on Shark Tank and stuff. I'm just really passionate about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I did not get the call back,
Yeah.
but I did a bunch of research and stuff. And believe it or not, out of 17 seasons of Shark Tank, they've only had 3 products for people with disabilities.
Really?
And the stuff that waiting in line, some of the stuff that these people had, it's like, oh, you can get a Sicilian pizza and then mailed overnight to wherever you want. They do all these products, but nothing that can help people with disabilities. So
yeah, and it's a huge market too. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar market.
And it's only getting bigger. I mean,
Right.
with the baby boomers and stuff. I mean, that's why they had to build so many colleges now with the retirement communities and stuff.
Right.
There's just a huge, and they're stubborn. So they don't want to be using suction cup stuff. They'd like to use that fine china, that they've had in there locked up for years and stuff. So, it's just teamwork makes the dream work, and there's no shame in failure, and it's never fun, but you always learn something from it.
Yes.
And, there's definitely a point in businesses where you got to know when to hold them or know when to fold them. And that's why you get around like-minded people that'll honestly tell you straight up.
Yeah.
You might not want to put your energy into this. You might want to look here, or they might just say, you've got it, roll with it.
Yeah.
And luckily I've found you're good, roll with it people and product.
Yeah. And I think, this is like you said, this is a very welcoming community down here, and there's a lot of people that'll lift you up and give you straight talk. And those two things are invaluable.
Exactly. And, unfortunately nowadays, I really think COVID threw off people's communication skills
For sure.
and such. And it's just really, even in the amount of time that I've been doing this, I can tell, how people are more open to conversations now and stuff. I was getting kicked out of therapist's office for no soliciting. And I'm like, I've got a product that can help people. Like, let me tailgate in your parking lot for 10 minutes and I will find people that are coming into your business that can use this product. But now they're like, come on in, and some people aren't like that yet. But when you find someone that's lock on to them, and, that's why I'm very fortunate to have just all things happen for a reason, and sometimes I feel like I'm spinning my tires with, my boards and stuff, but here I am getting to talk to you. And, we've already gone some ideas and stuff. So you always learn something from someone. It might not always be the most useful, but at the end of the day, you're going to learn something. Yeah. And if you don't like talking to people, go for it. No one's used to talking in front of 70 people. That's not natural. If you stutter, say, hey, I'm a human. This is scary.
Right.
And so, yeah, just be confident in yourself. There's no shame in failing. Everyone does it. It's going to happen again. But, and if you're passionate about something, that'll really, really keep you going.
Yes.
And that's, luckily I've got Cooper, as a reminder, so I can always feel him and stuff. And yeah, it's just, I'm very, very fortunate that given a 4% chance survival that I can help people, and it's contagious. And it all started with, you're here for a reason.
Yeah. That's great. This is amazing to hear. It's like, I love your story. I love that you're focused around helping others right now. And I think it's giving a lot to others, but also giving back to yourself. And so that's a great place to be. I think all of us would want to be in that kind of position at some point,
Oh, and you know what? I'll be the first one to say I cry every day, multiple times, just whether it just be out of joy. To my people that are out there listening, there is no shame in crying. Every day I look at something and I'm like, oh my gosh, like in the people that I've seen, the conditions that they're in, but yet the joy that they're taking, the approach when they have the right to be mad at everyone is unbelievable. So if I can help those people, then I don't mind crying a few tears, because at the end of the day, I'm making a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what, we're all here to do, is try to make a difference, so.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm sorry, when we first started, I was like, it's not the most direct path to where I am and stuff, but there have been many times where people are like, oh, you should give up on this. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate you, but no, I know from the people that can help, that this is doing it. So
Yeah.
helping is contagious. Even if you hold the door for someone or let someone out in traffic, it's just say, be kind. It
Right.
goes so far nowadays. It's unbelievable the small reactions that I've gotten just from the smallest of things.
Yeah, and I think it is contagious. That's one of the things I love about this area is everybody's kind. You know, that they do call it the land of sunshine and smiles, but it's beyond that. It is people are kind. People will let you out. People will wave at you. People will try to help you out if you're open to it. So that's a good place. It's one of the reasons that we love living here and love the community that we've got right now. So, but this has been great. We're going to have to do this again. I can tell already. I'm thinking, your story's only just getting started here, and there's going to be a lot more to come.
Hey, well, you know what? Things happen for a reason and such. And, even if I could just motivate one of these people that's listening to you, just do something nice for someone. Like,
Right.
It is unbelievable how good you will feel.
Yes.
Like, I know that sounds crazy, but just do something that you would not do on a normal day. This completely nice. Compliment someone on their shoes or just something simple. Because
Right.
when you get complimented, you feel good.
Yeah.
And you don't know when their last laugh or your last laugh or next laugh will be.
Right.
So if you can do it and it doesn't cost anything and it's painless, go for it.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's amazing. I'm going to stop there because I don't think I can say anything better than that. So
Hey, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll be talking again soon, I hope.
Hey, yeah, you're the one that's suggesting we talk anymore. So you know what? Your viewers heard it here. So
you'll have to hold me to it.
Notes on you. There's a hard paper trail and audio trail with this.
All right. Well, you be good. Talk to you later.
All right. Take care. Thanks again.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Low Country Revolutionaries. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the fearless entrepreneurs making wave in Charleston's Chucktown Startups community. I'm Bill Bellot, and it's been an honor to share these inspiring stories with you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a spark of low country innovation. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.